The Cameroon military has rubbished accusations that Boya-based journalist Samuel Nsoesie died from military torture. The spokesman of the Ministry of Defense argues that Nsoesie, arrested for collaborating with Ambazonian separatist fighters in Fako Division, died from severe sepsis. But the lawyer and colleague of the deceased have refused to take the military's response at face value. President Paul Biya has promised an in-depth investigation into the matter, as promised by the as revealed by the French ambassador to Cameroon, Christophe Guillou. Also in this newscast, the Archbishop of Douala, Samuel Cleda, has unveiled his curative products against the COVID-19 pandemic. These products are named Elixir COVID and Atsa COVID. Those are top stories. Good evening and thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the primetime newscast on STV. The Cameroon military has broken the silence on the Samuel Nsoesie affair. According to a statement from the spokesperson of the ministry in charge of defense, Samuel Nsoesie died from severe sepsis and not torture as reported by many media organs as well as civil society organizations. Details in this report. From the spokesperson of the Cameroon Army, Captain Cyril Atonfak, Samuel Nsoesie was a logistics officer for Ambazonian groups operating in the southwest region. He reveals that the TV host was arrested during an operation for complicity in acts of terrorism and intelligence to terrorists on the 2nd of August 2019. After investigations, it was established that he was providing logistics to separatist fighters in camps around Mbasumba and Wonia Makumba. He was handed to the 21st Motorized Infantry Battalion in Boya on the 7th of August 2019 for exploitation and was later transferred to the Central Service of External Research at the National Gendarmerie in Yaoundé a week later. The military reveals that Nsoesie presented symptoms of ill health and was transferred to the Yaoundé Military Hospital for treatment, and his family members were in touch with him during his detention. Nsoesie, they insist, did not die of torture as reported by the media and civil society groups. Following his death on Saturday, August 17, 2019, his corpse was deposited at the Ikonu mortuary. In the wake of rising accusations on the military, government has frowned at groups that have attributed the death of Samuel Nsoesie to military torture, slamming them for demoralizing the high spirits of defense and security forces battling separatist fighters in the northwest and southwest regions. Now, the lead counsel for the lawyers defending Samuel Ajeka Abue, known as Samuel Nsoesie, has refuted the military's version of the matter. Barrister Emmanuel Kea says that the military must produce the remains of the journalist and insists that Nsoesie's family have never been aware of his demise, detention, as well as sickness, as claimed by the defense spokesman. Let's listen to him.
Yeah, all of them are in a bad shape. I'm just talking to the brother now. And I've spoken when Nsoesie was arrested, and he instructed us and he called us to represent him. He gave us the number of one of his closest confidants, whom he considered a family member. And we have spoken to that person, we have spoken to his other relatives, and none of them is aware that Nsoesie is dead. None of them is aware that he is dead. So I don't know whether the government has, manufactured another set of family members for Nsoesie to have been communicating with him only when he was in critical state of dying. Because at the time Nsoesie died, we were before the courts. The prayers that we are asking from the High Court is that Nsoesie's body, whether he is dead or alive, should be produced to us. So we are expecting that if he has died and is in his custody of the state, that body should be brought to court. His dead body should be brought to court. That the trial of Nsoesie was conducted by the court left the court integrity and impartiality in question. The court demonstrated and acted more as an arm of the prosecution rather than an impartial arbiter of justice. We are going to pursue the matter further to ask questions as to the cause of death. in order to get it's just something. It's something. And I've still not recovered fully.
That was the lawyer of Samuel Wazizi refuting the claims of the defense ministry that family members were in contact with the deceased and that the deceased died with the knowledge of the family. Now, the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, Kamasesh, the Boya chapter, has also refuted the claims of the defense ministry's spokesman. Abba Isidore laments that the statement leaves more questions than answers, and all loose ends to the story must be stitched with the truth. He spoke to us from Boya.
I find it appalling. It's astonishing that if you even look at the report of the minister of the spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense, it doesn't correlate. Wazizi died a long time ago, and court sessions have been going on in Boya. The family was aware. The family always accompany us to court. Are they telling us that the family were playing double standard? This is the first thing. Or the family members of Wazizi were playing double standard? This is the first thing. I think that there are a lot of loose ends to his report. He should try to revisit it, because you cannot tell us that Wazizi died a long time ago. The government is aware. The court is an arm of the government, was prosecuting Wazizi in Boya when he was dead a long time ago, and all the parties knew. This is double standard. The ailment and other things that he has said, I think these are just flimsy excuses for him to give. Cameroonians are tired of cooked up information, and we think that as journalists, we are not demanding to know what happened and what we thought that justice should take its course. And since we only had to come out before the government could release information about the whereabouts of Wazizi, which we have been clamoring for 10 months, it is regrettable. I think the Ministry of Defense and their spokesperson should have done his assignment before going on air to say that. First of all, it is an embarrassment to our state, it is an embarrassment to our nation, it is an embarrassment to journalists. We are not fools, we understand what they have done, but what we are asking is that justice should take its course. Remember when the news came, we moved to Wazizi's residence and talked to family members, and they said they were very downcast that was the first time they were getting this. It is good to lie, but we will stop lying to our citizens all the time. The government should be strong enough, they should be firm enough, they should be humble enough to say they are sorry for what has transpired, because they have acted against our constitution, against the law of our republic, and I think the perpetrators of this act should be brought to book. They should be prosecuted, because you cannot solve a problem by creating another problem.
And English-speaking journalists in Yaoundé are expected to converge at the Kunu mortuary tomorrow, Saturday, for the identification of the corpse of Samuel Wazizi. This follows a call from the national president of the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, Kamasesh, Mr. Viban Jude. And in the meantime, President Paul Biya has promised an in-depth investigation into the Samuel Wazizi affair. This is what came out from the meeting between the French ambassador to Cameroon, Christophe Guillou, and the head of state, President Paul Biya. The information was unveiled by the French ambassador to Cameroon at the end of that meeting. Now, Elixir COVID and Atsa COVID are the names of the two products created by the Archbishop of Douala, Samuel Kleda, to cure the coronavirus. The two products were presented to pressmen today in Douala, as we hear in the following report.
Atsa COVID and Elixir COVID are the herbal mixtures which the Archbishop of Douala, His Lordship Samuel Kleda, has for the first time made public in the fight against the coronavirus. The clergy for 3 months has administered this treatment to COVID-19 patients, with over 3,000 of them recovering from this dreaded disease.
Alors, les personnes ayant
I can
suivi le
say
traitement
that those who have followed this treatment and have recovered as of now are over 3,000, and we have the statistics at the Health Coordination Unit of the diocese. I can't divulge their names because I'm bound to protect my patients.
Ici, c'est le secret médical, c'est la vie privée des gens.
He further adds that out of those who have undergone this treatment, none has died.
Ceux qui ont reçu ces traitements, qui l'ont suivi normalement.
What's most intriguing about this is the fact that all those who have received this treatment normally, out of that 3,000, no one has died. Those who took this treatment have all recovered.
Parmi ceux-là, parmi ces gens, on n'enregistre aucun décès.
At a time when Cameroon has recorded over 7,000 coronavirus cases and over 205 deaths, the cleric is pondering why this miracle mixture is not exploited by the government through public hospitals where people are dying without giving them a shot.
Mais je regrette une chose parce
I regret
qu'il y a
one thing,
certains
which is
médecins,
that there are
surtout dans les
certain doctors in public
hôpitaux
hospitals
publics,
who refuse that this
refusent
treatment be applied to
que,
their patients,
le
even though
traitement,
it is their right.
ils ont pleinement,
That's why I'm waiting on the authorities that they should look into this situation,
c'est pourquoi
because
je me
it's not
tourne
normal that people
vers,
die of the
le
coronavirus when this product is
notre
available.
État, vers nos autorités, pour que quelque chose, n'est-ce pas, ce problème soit résolu.
The herbal treatment is said to be in 4 Catholic hospitals in Douala where the product is available, and this is only given out to persons who have been declared positive of the coronavirus.
Tomorrow, June 7, 2020, June 6 rather, 2020 marks exactly 3 months since the coronavirus was detected in Cameroon. Efforts by government to mitigate the pandemic has been relatively successful with an increase in the number of infected cases recorded daily. Katrin Kone in the following report presents an evolution of the pandemic in Cameroon.
Cameroon now counts over 7,000 positive COVID-19 cases. 3 months after the first case was recorded in the country, the virus has rapidly spread across all 10 regions, with some 200 deaths and over 4,000 recoveries. From the very first hours of its emergence, the government of Cameroon implemented a prevention and response plan aimed at stemming the spread of the pandemic. 2 weeks on, Cameroon's land, air and sea borders were closed, schools shut down, entertainment spots were asked to systematically close at 6 p.m. There were also some changes in the transport sector, with the number of passengers on a given vehicle halved. Over time, what became a spoof to others turned into a nightmare as the numbers keeps on increasing due to the nonchalant attitude of some Cameroonians in respecting the barrier measures. The government extended the measures with the wearing of face masks mandatory. With the ravishing effects on the country's economy, the government later uplifted the measures taken to mitigate the economic shock provoked by the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Bars, restaurants were now authorized to operate after 6 p.m. Taxi and travel agencies were ordered not to overload, and 25 billion francs CFA was allocated to help businesses, which were amongst the 19 accompanying measures taken on April 30, 2020. Since then, the number of infected persons has been on a steady rise. Apart from the protocol put in place to treat COVID-19 patients, herbal concoctions have been introduced like that of His Lordship Samuel Kleda, which is said to have treated more than 1,000 patients. In April, the government started creating specialized centers in some regions of the country, like Douala and Yaoundé. In this fight, President Paul Biya set the pace for a special fund in the fight against the coronavirus with $1 billion francs CFA. This was followed by other multinational companies and individuals chipping in their own quota in this fight. In May, Cameroon recorded the highest number of cases in a single day with over 500 infected persons. On June 1st, schools across the national territory reopened for examination classes for the last phase of the academic year 2019-2020 with a strict respect of barrier measures after over 3 months of no classes.
Now, the mayor of the Douala 3 Council has called on locals to protect the environment by avoiding the destruction of mangrove trees planted by the government. He was speaking on the occasion of the observation of the World Environment Day today, June 5, 2020. John Paul Sama has more.
A lengthy and necessary exchange between the mayor of the Douala 3 municipality and inhabitants of Bokon on the destruction of mangrove trees planted by the government several years ago to mitigate the negative effect of environmental change. Given that this locality, which has been inhabited by a lot of persons, seems not to know the importance of these trees to the environment.
To do when you have visited what we have seen is to make all the investment that the state have done should be kept. So you have to evaluate what we invest. You should see if the aim, what we have lost or we have won something with what we did few years ago, and now to see, to try to plan for the future, for the future, to plan the new investment, to see, to try to keep all that the government have invested in this area.
The celebration of the World Environmental Day this Friday, June 5th, was an opportunity for the mayor and his team to go down to the fields and meet the population of these areas in a bid to sensitize them on the need to preserve nature.
Need to sensibilize those population to keep the environment. They have to keep it, because if they don't keep it, there will be many things that should change. And then you saw what the expert told us, that if we cannot keep what the environment have what we found in the environment, if we have to destroy what the environment have done, it will be very, very, very difficult for us for the few days, for the next days. So we have to do all that necessary, that to see even they can even help those who are working here to keep it. And then where we get the former one that we visit, to see if we can associate the population, because what we have seen is that it seems as they are not interested with what we have done. They are not interested. It's government who did it, and then if somebody came elsewhere to come and destroy it, it's not their problem.
He also urged the locals to avoid constructing in these risk zones and preserve the natural elements rather than exploiting them for commercial purposes.
The Douala City Council has begun repair works on some bad spots between Boulevard de la Liberté and Rond-Point d'Aido. The rehabilitation, which began today, June 5, is expected to end by June 30, 2020. Road users have been advised to follow the deviation mapped out in order to facilitate the execution of the project. Christelle Asek-Swele reports.
This road rehabilitation project is one of the top challenges of the new mayor, given that these projects were already existing during the reign of the former government delegate.
I've been here for over 10 years now, and I don't appreciate very much the works that are being carried out, because they are not touching the major areas affected, like this gutter you can see here. When water leaves from these two streets, it comes and crosses through this gutter, as the gutter is small, and so the water flows out to the tar, and you know tar and water don't relate.
The stretches of road concerned are Daido, Bonanjo, Boulevard de la Liberté, Collège Alfred Saquet, Rond-Point 4e, Réunification Boulevard, Express Union, Trois Boutiques, and Rond-Point d'Aido.
And you know tar and water don't relate, reason why there is always this gutter problem here. They will do all this and water will still spring over to the tar.
These works will run from June 5 to June 30, 2020, with the execution of the China Road and Bridge Corporation. Traffic will be progressively deviated. Henceforth, Coming from Rond-Point 4e to Daido, road users will cut through Bonantone, and from Rond-Point Daido to Bonanjo, users will cut through the roundabout at the Wui Bridge and head towards the Port Authority through the Général Leclerc Boulevard. During these works, road users are called to strictly respect and diligently follow the deviation signs placed on the road by the construction company in charge, as reiterated in the mayor's press release.
There has been an increased scarcity in plastic bags in markets across the economic capital, Douala. Though outlawed by authorities due to its harmful effects on the environment, plastic bags remain in good use. The high demand, as Catherine Kone tells us, has also led to a rise in its prices. Her report.
Widely used disposable plastic bags have become scarce and expensive in some markets in the city of Douala. Traders have affirmed the situation is as a result of the coronavirus. It has become scarce in the market since the outbreak of coronavirus. A plastic bag we used to buy at 600 francs CFA is now sold at 1,300 francs CFA. It is very expensive. To another, the prices of the ones available varies in terms of their sizes. We hear the big size plastic bag costs 1,300 francs CFA and the small size 600 francs. Before, the smaller size was 300 and the big size 500 francs CFA. It has been years since the Cameroonian government banned the sale and use of non-biodegradable plastic bags, a move that was intended to stem the proliferation of plastic pollution. But the ban was not strictly implemented, as traders kept on using the plastic bags despite the dangers it poses.
Out of the country, U.S. lawmakers regarding of their political affiliations have openly condemned the use of police brutality, which prosecutors say led to the death of George Floyd. This comes at a time when hundreds of Americans are gathered for the memorial of the fallen American citizen. Details with the VOA.
At the first in a series of memorial services before George Floyd is laid to rest, Amazing Grace, hundreds of mourners gathered in Minneapolis to pay their respects Thursday.
The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?
While in Washington, Senate Democrats held an 8-minute, 46-second long moment of silence, remembering each second Floyd was pinned underneath police officer Derek Chauvin's knee.
We gather here in solemn reverence to not just mark his tragic death, but to give honor to his life.
Elsewhere around the Capitol, the calls for justice continue to reverberate. Whether Democrat or Republican, U.S. lawmakers have been quick to condemn the death of African-American George Floyd after being detained by police. 4 officers have now been charged in his death.
It's a long overdue wake-up call to the country that there are too many of these cases where African-American men die in police custody under fairly brutal circumstances.
We have questions before us today that are of constitutional moment. Is our system of justice in America so infected by racism that it cannot function in a manner consistent with our democratic values?
The top Republican in the Senate has also denounced the violence that led to Floyd's death.
In no world whatsoever should arresting a man for an alleged minor infraction involve a police officer putting his knee on a man's neck for 9 minutes while he cries out, "I can't breathe," and then goes silent.
But while Republican leaders have been quick to express condolences and solidarity with the Floyd family, they have been less vocal in criticizing the actions of U.S. President Donald Trump, who this week called in the military to tamp down demonstrations outside the White House. In an opinion piece, one Republican senator, Tom Cotton, expressed support for the president in calling for troops to be deployed on U.S. streets. He told Fox News a show of force is necessary in the wake of protests over Floyd's death, some of which have turned violent.
Let's see how these anarchists respond when the 101st Airborne is on the other side of the street.
Congressional Democrats have sharply criticized Trump's actions and are drafting a package of reforms aimed at changing the culture of policing in the U.S.
And this is just one thing we can do. We can also mandate body cameras. We can also mandate reporting. We can also make sure we change the laws that deal with how we treat these cases.
This as both Democrats and Republicans continue to face pressure to act to restore peace to the streets. Jesus Amelni, VOA News, Washington.
And that wraps up the primetime newscast on STV. Thank you very much for watching. More news comes up in the French language at 8 p.m. with Leila Wen Ganzo. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. will be the weekend bilingual newscast on STV. From the entire team, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.